The stars outside the window were still and silent. A small silver ship moved slowly through space. Inside the ship sat a human named Ravi. He wore a plain black suit and looked out quietly. His hands were shaking, though he was trying to stay calm. It was his first time leaving Earth. He had been chosen by the World Council to go as a guest to a planet called Telit. This planet belonged to the Valari Union, a peaceful group of alien races. Earth had joined the Union only 6 months ago. Many humans still didn't trust the aliens, but the leaders wanted peace. They wanted friendship, and so Ravi was sent as the first human visitor. When the ship landed, soft blue lights greeted him. The ground of Teleson felt smooth and warm, like walking on polished stone. Strange trees with crystal-like leaves danced in the soft wind. The air smelled sweet and fresh. A group of tall aliens stood in a row. Their skin was light gray, and their faces were long and smooth, with large, bright eyes. They looked calm, even kind. One of them stepped forward. "I am Thina," she said, softly. Her voice was light, like music. "Welcome, Ravi of Earth." Ravi gave a small bow. "Thank you. I come in peace." Thina gave a slight smile, but there was something in her eyes, something unsure. They walked together through glowing halls made of glass and stone. Strange floating lights followed them, lighting the way. The other Valari watched him quietly. None of them spoke much. Thina showed Ravi his room. It was round, filled with soft colors, and a round bed in the middle. On the walls were small screens showing moving pictures of Teleson's forests and oceans. "You may rest here," she said. "A meal will come soon." Ravi nodded. "Thank you again." She turned to leave, but stopped for a moment. She looked back at him. Her eyes met his, then quickly turned away. Her hands shook just a little. "Is something wrong?" Ravi asked. Thina took a breath. "No, it is nothing." And then she left. The next few days passed slowly. Ravi walked through the city with Thina as his guide. The people were polite, but always quiet. They bowed slightly, but never smiled. Children ran away when they saw him. Some adults whispered behind walls. He noticed Thina never walked too close. She always kept space between them. One evening, Ravi sat alone in the garden. The sky above was deep purple, and stars began to show. Thina came and sat nearby, her hands folded. "You do not speak much," she said. "I am just watching." "It's all very new to me," he said, "and I feel like your people are afraid of me." Thina looked down. She stayed silent for a long time. Then she finally said, "It is not you, Ravi. It is what you are, what I am." He asked, confused. "A human," she said. "You are not like us. Your kind is strong in ways we cannot understand." Ravi frowned. "We are not here to harm anyone." "We know," Thina whispered, "but your kind holds fire inside. That fire scares us." There was silence between them. Suddenly Ravi turned to her and asked, "What kind of fire?" Thina looked up slowly. His eyes were fixed on hers. Strong, curious, deep. She gasped, stepping back. Then she whispered, "Please, human, don't look at me like that." Her voice was shaking. Her body trembled like a leaf in wind. Ravi stood up quickly. "I didn't mean to scare you. I'm sorry." She backed away a little, her eyes wide. Then, seeing his worried face, she took a deep breath. "I am the one who should be sorry," she said slowly. "But you must understand. Long ago, our people learned to hide emotions. We live in peace. But when we feel strong things, fear, anger, love, it can break our minds." Ravi sat back down. "Humans are full of emotions," he said quietly. "That's how we live. We laugh, we cry, we fight, and we care." Thina nodded slowly. "Yes, that is why many fear you, but you don't." She looked at him for a long time. "I don't know yet," she said. That night Ravi couldn't sleep. He sat on the bed, looking at the stars again. He thought about what she said about fire inside. He didn't feel dangerous, but something in him, something old, was beginning to wake up. Not anger, not pride, just a deep feeling. A question. Why are they so afraid of humans? He didn't know yet. But he knew one thing now, that this trip was not just about peace. Something was being kept hidden, and Ravi would find out what it was. The next morning, the city of Teleson looked bright and peaceful. Soft lights moved through the sky. Birds with glowing feathers flew high, and clear water flowed through silver pipes along the walls. But inside Ravi's heart, there was a quiet storm. He kept thinking about what Thina said the night before. You hold fire inside. Why did they believe that? Why were these peaceful aliens afraid of humans who had come only to learn, not to harm? When Thina came to guide him for the day, she looked calm, but Ravi could still see the same careful distance. In her eyes, they walked through the city again, this time toward the council tower. Tall, round building made of white stone and blue crystal. The top of the tower touched the clouds. It was where the Valari Union leaders met to discuss all matters. As they entered the tower, Thena said softly, "Please speak only when asked. The council is ... sensitive." Ravi nodded. "Understood." Inside the council chamber, the air felt heavier. 5 Valari elders sat in a circle, their long robes glowing faintly. Their faces looked older than the others, wrinkled, pale, and serious. One of them, a tall elder with golden markings on his head, spoke first. "We welcome you again, Huma Ravi," he said. "Your visit is part of a very old agreement." "Agreement?" Ravi asked. "I thought this was a first meeting between our worlds." The elder looked at Thena, then back at him. "Not a first meeting," he said slowly. "A renewal of old paths." Ravi frowned. But before he could ask more, another elder interrupted. "We will show you our harmony, but understand peace is our law. We do not allow emotions that cause storms." "And storms?" Ravi asked again. The elders didn't answer. Instead, they all closed their eyes. A soft hum filled the room. The blue crystals around the chamber glowed brighter. Then, images appeared in the air: cities, forests, people holding hands, smiling. Ravi stood still, watching the peaceful scenes. No war, no hunger, no sadness. It was beautiful, but it didn't feel real. Later, as Ravi and Thena left the tower, he asked, "Why did they say this isn't our first meeting? Has Earth been here before?" Thena stopped walking. She looked around carefully, then stepped into a quiet corner behind a tall crystal tree. She turned to him, her voice low. "Long ago, before even our elders were born, we met your kind." Ravi's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" She looked down at her hands. "It is not told in public, but our memory stones hold stories. Old ones. From before history was cleaned." "Cleaned?" Ravi asked. "Yes," she whispered. "Some truths were removed, hidden because they were too ... dangerous." Ravi felt a chill in his chest. "Can I see them?" Thena looked at him, fear in her eyes. "They are sealed. Only those with special permission can see them." "Then help me," Ravi said. She was silent for a long time. Then, slowly, she nodded. That evening, when the city lights dimmed and the sky turned silver, Thena came to Ravi's room. She wore a dark cloak that covered her glowing skin. "Follow me," she said. They moved quietly through the back paths of the city. Most people were asleep, and the guards did not watch these parts. After many turns and tunnels, they reached a small door behind a waterfall. Thena placed her hand on the door. It glowed and opened with a soft sound. Inside was a round room filled with floating stones, each one shining in a different color. The air smelled like old books and wet stone. "These are memory crystals," she said. "Each holds truth from our past." Ravi stepped closer. The stones floated quietly, as if sleeping. Thena pointed to one crystal, dark green with a thin, red line. "This one speaks of a fire race," she said. "A race like yours. They were strong, they came from the stars. At first they helped, then they changed." "What did they do?" Ravi asked. "They made machines that could think. They made stars bend to their will. They built great towers that touched the moons. And then they asked for more," Thena said. "More knowledge, more control, until something went wrong. The sky burned, and the fire spread to other worlds." Ravi stood in silence. Thena looked at him with sad eyes. The elders erased their past. They feared the story would return. "Why not tell us the truth?" he asked. "Because fear grows fast. Peace is easy to lose." Ravi touched the crystal. Nothing happened. "It is locked," Thena said. "Only those with the old blood can open it." He looked at her. "What if I have it?" She stared at him. "That is not possible." He placed both hands on the stone. Suddenly, the crystal glowed, bright red. The room shook. The other stones floated higher. A hum filled the air. Then a voice came from the crystal. "To the one who remembers, we are the fireborn, we are the lost. We wait," Thena gasped. "It answered you." Ravi looked down at his hands. "I think I've been dreaming about this place," he whispered. They left the chamber in silence. The city was still asleep. The stars were brighter than before. Thena finally spoke. "There is something inside. You, Ravi, something the Union tried to forget. Maybe you are part of the fire race." Ravi looked up at the sky. "If that's true," he said, "I need to find out who they were, and what happened to them." He didn't say it out loud, but deep inside, a strange feeling grew. Not fear, not pride, but a pull, like a memory returning. And far away, in deep space, a light blinked once, as if something had woken up. The next day Ravi woke up early. The sky over Teleson was light orange, and the trees outside his window glowed softly. Birds with silver wings flew past. The world looked peaceful, but his heart was not. He sat on the bed, thinking about the memory crystal. We are the Fireborn, we are the lost. We wait. That voice from the past still echoed in his mind. It had spoken to him like it knew him, but how he was from Earth, just an engineer. He had never seen space before this journey yet. Something inside him was changing. When Thena arrived, she looked different too. Her face was serious, her voice quiet. She no longer smiled politely, like before. Now, she looked at him with curiosity and a little fear. We must go again, she said. There is something more I need to show you, where Ravi asked. Far outside the city, deep in the ground, we call it the memory cage. They took a long path that curved through the forest. The trees became taller, older, and darker. The air grew cooler. Soon, the soft lights of the city disappeared behind them. After walking for over an hour, they reached a rocky hill with a narrow entrance. Thena pressed her hand to a stone panel, and a hidden door slid open. A cold wind rushed out. Inside, a spiral path led downward. The walls were made of black stone, smooth and silent. This place is not open to the public, Thena said. Even most Volari do not know it exists. Ravi followed her without a word. They went deep underground, where no light from the surface reached. Only small glowing orbs floated above their heads, lighting the path. Finally, they entered a large round chamber. In the center was a huge black crystal, covered with ancient lines and symbols. Smaller stones floated around it, slowly moving in a circle. The air was heavy, quiet. This, Thena whispered, is the oldest memory we have, but we cannot open it. Ravi stepped closer. The large crystal pulsed softly, as if breathing. Why can't you open it? He asked. It is sealed by a code that does not belong to us, she replied. It reacts only to a mind shaped by emotion, strong feeling, not peace. It is human-made. Ravi reached out his hand. Wait, Thena said. Are you sure you want to do this? He nodded. I need to know. He placed his palm on the crystal. Nothing happened at first. Then a sudden warmth spread through his fingers. The crystal began to glow, then orange, then gold. The room trembled. A deep sound filled the air. The floating stone spun faster. A light burst from the center of the crystal, and then images appeared in the air. They saw a great city, towers of gold and silver, flying ships, people in strange suits walking on glowing paths. They are human, Ravi said in shock. But Thena shook her head. No, not Earth humans. These are something older. The scene changed. A dark space. A war. Great machines firing beams of light. Planets shaking. Stars dying. Ravi watched in silence. The Fireborn humans were not peaceful. They were creators and destroyers, builders of wonders and bringers of storms. Then came the final image. A single ship, flying away from a burning world. It carried a small group of survivors. They entered deep space, their faces full of sorrow. They were escaping, Ravi whispered. They lost everything, Thena said softly. The light faded. The chamber fell silent again. Ravi took a step back. His heart was beating fast. They were real, he said. They were here, and now, they're gone. Maybe not gone, Thena said. Maybe waiting. They left the chamber quietly. Outside, the forest looked darker than before. The wind had picked up and the sky was turning gray. As they walked back, Ravi spoke. If they were not from Earth, who were they and why do I look like them? Thena looked at him. Maybe your people are their children. Maybe Earth was a place they escaped to, but we never knew, he said. Perhaps someone made sure you forgot, she replied. They reached the edge of the city. The lights were dimmer. The streets were quiet. Something is coming, Thena said. I can feel it. Ravi looked up at the stars. So can I. That night, Ravi sat by the window in his room. His thoughts were heavy. Earth had always believed. It was small, just one world among stars. But now he knew that something great had been buried in the past. The Solari humans from the stars, creators, warriors, dreamers. Were they his ancestors? And if so, what was waking up inside him? As he sat thinking, a soft light blinked in the corner of the room. A message had arrived from Earth. Ravi, do not dig too deep. There are reasons this history was buried. Be careful. Command. He stared at the words. His hands clenched. They knew, Earth knew, and they had not told him. He looked out again at the stars. Somewhere out there, the truth was still waiting, and Ravi had already taken the first step toward it. The sky above Talisan was dark and quiet. Small lights moved gently in the clouds, but they gave no warmth. Ravi sat alone on the roof of the guest building, his eyes watching the stars. The message from Earth was still on his small device. Do not dig too deep. There are reasons this history was buried. Be careful, command. His hands held the message tightly. His mind was full of questions. Why did Earth hide the truth? Why didn't anyone say that humans had once ruled the stars? Why did they fear the past so much? Behind him, he heard soft footsteps. Thena walked slowly and sat beside him, her long cloak wrapped around her like a blanket. She looked at him quietly. You are changing, she said. Ravi gave a small nod. I feel it, too. What did Earth say? She asked gently. They told me to stop looking. Thena looked down. Because they know something dark is in that story. I need to know the full truth, Ravi said. Not just pieces. She was quiet for a moment, then looked into the sky. There are stories, she whispered, about a ship. A ship, from far space, one that does not speak to us. It moves silently, watching, waiting. Ravi turned to her. What kind of ship? She stood and held out her hand. Come with me. I want to show you something. They took a small floating car to the edge of the city, where the mountains met the sky. There stood a high tower, old, forgotten, and covered in silver dust. Inside the tower was a single room. In the center, a screen showed the stars above. It was a tracking center, built long ago by the first Valari explorers. Thena pressed a few buttons. The screen changed, zooming in on a dark corner of the galaxy. There, she said, pointing. That ship. Ravi stared at the strange shape. It was large, black, sharp, and silent. It moved slowly through space, but never stopped. It has no name, no flag, and no signal. It never answers our calls, Thena said. We have watched it for 50 years. Always the same path. No life signs. But it is not dead. Ravi leaned closer. His heart was beating faster. I've seen that shape, he said, in my dreams. And in the memory, Crystal. Thena looked at him, her eyes wide. Then it is connected to you. Back in his room, Ravi couldn't sleep. That ship, it was coming closer. Not fast, but steady. Like it had waited long enough and was finally returning. He sat at the table and opened his personal journal. He wrote down everything he remembered from the visions, the Solari, the war, the golden towers, the final ship escaping. Then something strange happened. His hand started moving on its own. He began to draw a shape he didn't know, an old symbol. A circle with lines crossing through it like a sun. It was the same symbol he had seen on the ancient Solari suits in the vision. He stared at the drawing. Suddenly, the lights in the room flickered. The screen on the wall turned on by itself. A voice spoke. A deep, clear voice. Not from Earth and not from Teleson. He has awakened. Ravi stood, shocked. The flame has not died. The spark is still alive. The voice faded. The screen went black. He rushed to tell Thena. They met in the garden at night. A soft wind passed through the glowing plants. The moon above was large and blue. Ravi told her what happened. The drawing, the voice, the screen turning on. Thena listened with her eyes wide. It's beginning, she said. Something is calling you. Something old. Ravi held out the paper with the symbol. Do you know this? She nodded slowly. Yes, that mark is forbidden. It is called the Sun Core. It was the sign of the Fireborn Kings. The last time it was seen was in the time before memory. Ravi looked at the paper, then at the stars. What do I do now? You wait, Thena said. And when the ship arrives, you go to it. The next morning, the whole city was buzzing with whispers. A message had been received from the deep watchposts. The silent ship was now closer, much closer than ever before. It would reach the edge of the Teleson system in 5 days. The Valari Council called a meeting. Inside the tall tower, the elders spoke in worried tones. Ravi sat quietly in the back, listening. This ship is not from the Union. It does not answer our calls. It brings danger. Then one of the elders looked at Ravi. Human, he said. You opened the memory stones. You carried the mark of the Fireborn. Do you know this ship? Ravi stood. I don't know it, he said, but I feel it. It's looking for something, maybe for me. The room fell silent. We must prepare, the elder said, in case it brings war. No, Ravi said, let me meet it first. If it's truly linked to me, maybe I can speak to it. The elders argued. Some wanted to hide. Some wanted to shut down the sky doors, but in the end, they agreed that Ravi would go. Later that night, Ravi stood again at the edge of the city. Thena came to him with a small bag, food, water, and a voice. Crystal, she said, if something happens, call me. He took the bag and smiled. Thank you. She looked at him, her voice low. If you don't return, I will, he said. I promise. She stepped closer, just for a moment. You are not like the others, she whispered. Not just fire. You carry light too. And then she turned and walked away. Ravi looked at the stars once more, and in the distance, a small dark shape moved through the sky slowly, but surely. The other humans, the Solari, were coming, and he would be ready. The sky above Teleson changed. A dark spot had appeared in the stars. It was far away, but every day it grew bigger. The silent ship, unknown, ancient, and powerful, was now moving toward the planet. Everyone on Teleson felt it. Some people whispered in fear. Others closed their shops and stayed indoors. The glowing birds flew lower, and the wind moved in strange ways. Even the plants, always bright and dancing, now hung still. But Ravi was calm. He stood outside the council tower, his eyes watching the dark shape in the sky. His thoughts were deep. He could feel something inside him, something that was not there before. It was like a small fire, quiet but steady, growing stronger with every heartbeat. Thina came to him. "They are afraid," she said softly. "No," Ravi replied. "They think you are calling this ship," she added. "I'm not calling it," Ravi said. "It's calling me." The next day, the council called Ravi again. The 5 elders sat in a circle. The room felt heavier than before. No lights moved, no music played. One of the elders stood. "The ship is now close enough for scanning. We still cannot find its origin, but we saw something." He pressed a button, and a screen floated into the air. On the screen was an image of the ship's side. A golden mark was carved into the metal, a circle with lines through it. Ravi stepped forward. His voice was low. "That is the Sun Core," he said. "The symbol of the Fireborn." The elders looked at one another. "We feared this," one whispered. "We must act. We should shut down the skyports." Another said, "No one must leave. No one must enter." But the first elder turned to Ravi. "Do you still wish to face this ship?" "Yes," Ravi said. "I need to know the truth." The elder stared into his eyes. "Then come with us. There is one more thing we must show you." They took Ravi to the base of the council tower. A hidden door opened into a long, dark tunnel. The walls were smooth, made of deep black stone. They walked silently until they reached a vast underground chamber. In the center stood a tall machine, shaped like an open shell. It was old, very old. Strange symbols glowed on its sides. The air around it was warmer than the rest of the room. "This is from before our time," the elder said. "We do not understand how it works, but we know what it does." "What does it do?" Ravi asked. "It reads blood," the elder answered. "It finds the fire." Thina stepped forward. "Ravi, this is a Solari machine." Ravi looked at it. His heart beat faster. He slowly walked to the center of the machine. The metal under his feet hummed. He placed his hands on the glowing handprints. The machine lit up. A warm light wrapped around him. Soft sounds filled the air like a faraway song. Then, above him, a voice spoke. "Genetic match found. Solari signature active." The elders stepped back in shock. Thina covered her mouth. Ravi opened his eyes. His body felt lighter. His skin glowed faintly, just like the ancient Fireborn in the vision. He looked at the elders. "I am one of them," he said. "Maybe not fully, but I carry their spark." Later, Thina sat with him in the garden. She looked up at the night sky, then back at him. "What will you do now?" she asked. "I will go to that ship," Ravi said. "It holds the rest of the truth." "Do you think they'll accept you?" "I don't know," he replied. "But they'll know I'm one of them." Thina touched the edge of her sleeve. "When I first met you," she said, "you were quiet, careful now. You carry something different, you carry weight." Ravi gave a small smile. "The past is heavy," she nodded. "But you also carry choice. That matters more." 2 days later, the silent ship reached the edge of Teleson's orbit. It stopped just beyond the moon. It did not send a signal. It simply waited. The council gave Ravi a small ship. It was fast, light, and controlled by thought. Thina came to see him off. As Ravi stepped into the ship, she handed him something, a crystal pendant glowing faint blue. "It's not powerful," she said, "but it's honest. Like me." He took it, nodded, and stepped into the pilot's seat. The ship rose quietly into the sky. As Teleson shrank below, Ravi felt the fire in his chest grow warmer. The dark ship came into view, huge, silent, and still. It floated like a sleeping giant. His ship stopped a short distance from it. No weapons, no messages, only silence. Then, a small light appeared on the side of the Solari ship. A round door opened. Ravi's ship moved forward. Inside, the Solari ship was cold and empty. The halls were wide, the walls smooth and silver. Strange lights lit up as Ravi walked forward. At the end of the hallway stood a figure. Tall, human-shaped, wearing silver armor with the sun core mark on the chest. The figure stepped forward, removed its helmet. Was a man. His eyes were bright gold. His face looked older than Ravi's, but not ancient. He stared at Ravi for a long time, then finally spoke. You carry our blood, he said. I didn't know, Ravi replied. Few do, the man said. We have searched many years for our lost kin. Why come now? Ravi asked. Because your light returned, the man said. We felt it, the spark. Ravi looked around. The ship was quiet, empty. How many are you? Few, the man said. But enough. What do you want from me? Ravi asked. The man stepped forward. We want to return, but not as kings, not as rulers. We want a place among stars again. We need one who remembers both peace and fire. Ravi looked at the glowing walls. He thought of Earth, of Thena. He turned back to the man. Then let's begin again, he said. The silence inside the Solari ship was deep, but not empty. Ravi walked beside the golden-eyed man whose name was Taran. His voice was soft, but his words held weight. We have been in the dark for too long, Taran said. We waited for a sign, and now you are that sign. Ravi looked at the long silver halls of the ship. The walls had glowing patterns that shifted when he walked past. It was as if the ship knew him, accepted him. How many of you are here? Ravi asked. Taran stopped in front of a tall door. Not many, he said. Most of our kind were lost in the collapse. We are only the last spark. The door opened. Inside was a large room with a high ceiling. Around 20 people stood inside. They were all like Toronto.com, and wearing suits marked with the Suncore. But their eyes changed when they saw Ravi. Some stepped forward. Some bowed their heads. One of them whispered, He has returned. Ravi felt strange. He wasn't a king, he wasn't a leader. He was just a man from Earth. But now, these ancient humans from the stars looked at him as if he was something more. Taran led him to the center of the room. A glowing table showed a map of stars. Blue lights blinked across the galaxy. One red light blinked where Telison was. We stayed far from the Valari, Taran said. They do not trust us. I understand why, Ravi said. Your kind left behind memories of war. Taran nodded. It's true, we were powerful and proud, but that pride broke us. The great collapse burned our worlds and scattered us into the dark. Ravi stared at the star map. Why not return? Earlier we didn't want to bring fear, Taran answered. We waited for one like you. A voice that can speak both to the fire and the peace. Ravi looked up. I'm not a leader. You don't have to be a leader, Taran said. Just a bridge. Back on Telison, the council watched the skies nervously. The silent ship remained still, but Thena stood at the edge of the tower and waited with hope. She believed Ravi would return. Inside the Solari ship, Ravi asked a question that had grown in his mind. Why does your ship feel alive? Taran smiled. Because it is. It is part machine, part mind. It listens, it feels, it remembers. Then, it remembers me, Ravi said. Yes, Taran replied. It carries memory of all Solari. When you entered, it accepted you. Even though I'm from Earth. Earth is part of the Solari path, Taran said. It was one of the safe worlds chosen during the collapse. You are a child of that legacy. Ravi looked around. What do you want from me now? We want peace, Taran said. But also a voice. We want to return to the stars without fear. We need someone who can speak to the Union, Ravi thought. For a long moment, I'll speak, he said. But only if you don't come as rulers. No weapons, no threats. Taran placed a hand on Ravi's shoulder. We don't want to rule, he said. We only want to belong again. That night, Ravi returned to Telison. He stepped down from the small ship and walked toward the council tower. People watched him. From windows, the lights around the streets glowed soft green. Thena met him at the base of the tower. Her eyes were wide. You're back. He nodded. And I've brought a message. Inside the council chamber, the elders sat in silence as Ravi stood before them. I've spoken with the ones on the ship, he said. They are not here to fight. Then why have they come? An elder asked. To return, Ravi said. To be part of the stars again. To be heard. They are the fireborn. Another elder said. They carry danger. They carry memory, Ravi replied. Yes, they made mistakes, but they've changed. They are few. They want peace. The room was still. You carry their mark, the elder said. How do we trust you? Because I carry something else too, Ravi said. I carry Earth's heart, and I've learned from both. I've seen fire and I've seen calm. We must not fear the past, we must learn from it. The council took time to think. Hours passed. The city waited. Finally, the elder with the golden lines on his face stood. We will not welcome them fully yet, but we will allow one ship to land, under peace signs. Ravi nodded. That's all they need. He walked out of the tower where Thena waited. You spoke well, she said. I spoke true, Ravi replied. She walked beside him. I was afraid when I first met you, she said, but now I feel something different. What do you feel? Hope, she whispered. The next day, a small Solari ship entered the atmosphere. It landed in the open fields outside the city. Tehran stepped out, along with 3 others. They wore no armor, only simple robes with the sun core hidden under a light scarf. The people of Teleson gathered around but kept a distance. Ravi walked beside them. Thena stood behind him, watching carefully. Tehran bowed before the council members. We come not to take, he said, only to ask. Let the fire and the wind stand side by side. The elders nodded slowly. You may stay, one said. But only under the open eye. We agree, Tehran said. That evening, a gathering was held under the stars. No buildings, no walls. Just people sitting on the grass, sharing food and music. It was the first time Valari and Solari sat together in peace. Children touched the robes of the visitors. The Solari smiled gently. Some showed glowing stones and sang songs in old languages. Thena sat beside Ravi. Do you think it will last? She asked. It has to, Ravi said. We've all come too far. She looked at him. You said before that you are not a leader, she said. I still think that. Ravi smiled. But sometimes, she said, leaders are just those who step forward when no one else will. Ravi looked at the fire in the center of the gathering. The flames danced softly, not wild, not dangerous. Just warm. Maybe that was what being fireborn truly meant. Not destruction, but light. 1 month passed. The sky above Teleson had changed. There was no longer fear in the streets, no longer whispers of war. The people now spoke of something new, the return of the Solari. In the gardens, Valari children played with Solari machines that floated and sang. The silver birds flew freely again, and the glowing plants had begun to bloom brighter than before. The old fear had faded, and in the center of it all stood Ravi. He was still the same man from Earth. His clothes were simple. His voice was calm, but now when he walked through the streets, both Valari and Solari greeted him with quiet respect. Not as a ruler, not as a soldier, but as a bridge between 2 worlds. Thena walked beside him every day. She was no longer just a guide. She was his closest friend. The bond between them was deep, though they spoke little about it. It didn't need words. One morning Thena and Ravi sat by the waterfall garden. The water glowed blue as it flowed over the stones. The council wants to speak with you again, Thena said. Ravi sighed gently. What now? They want to open the Skygate, she replied. He turned to her. The Skygate? You mean, send a signal? She nodded. Yes, to Earth, and beyond. They want to let others know that Teleson is now a place of peace for all. Inside the council tower, the 5 elders stood before a tall screen. The oldest one, the same who had first warned Ravi, now had a softer tone. You have brought calm where there was fear, he said. You have shown us that fire is not always destruction. Sometimes, it gives light. Ravi bowed his head slightly. We wish to open the Skygate and send a message. A message that all lost ones, like the Solari, may return, but only with peace in their hearts. Ravi nodded. I will help write that message. Then speak from your heart, the elder said. That night, Ravi stood in front of the Skygate, a tall structure shaped like an open circle, made from stone. A beam of light shot into the sky, connecting to the stars. It was a message beam used only for the most important calls. The people of Teleson stood around him, Valari, Solari. Even a few travelers from other planets had come. The wind was soft, the stars above were quiet. Listening, Ravi stepped forward, and spoke into the crystal at the center of the gate. This is Ravi of Earth. I speak for Valari and for the Solari. He paused, then continued. A long time ago, fire ruled the stars. That fire brought light, but also pain. Now that fire has returned, but not to burn. It has returned to warm, to guide, and to grow. He looked around at the faces in the crowd. We do not seek power, we seek understanding. If you are lost, if you carry memory, if you carry pain, you are welcome here, but only if you come with peace. He placed his hand on the sun core symbol on his chest. Let the stars know. The fireborn walk again. The beam of light grew brighter. The message was sent. And somewhere in the far corners of space, someone listened. In the weeks that followed, more visitors arrived on Teleson. Some came from forgotten colonies. Some were Solari survivors, older than time, who had lived in silence. Some were curious species who had only heard stories. Teleson became a meeting place, a place of healing. The council, the Valari, the Solari, and even the Earth Embassy began working together. New buildings were built, not tall towers, but shared halls made of smooth stone and clear glass. Places for learning, places for memory. Ravi helped design the first one. They called it the Hall of Flame and Wind to honor both sides of the story. One evening, Ravi sat by the same waterfall where he first felt something change. Thina sat beside him, watching the soft water. Did you think all this would happen? She asked. Ravi smiled gently. No, I thought I'd come, look around, and go back to Earth. But now Earth comes here, she said. He nodded. And I'm not ready to leave. She looked at him. You were fire, she said. But you became something else, something better. I just followed the truth, Ravi said. She smiled. That's the path of light. They sat in silence. Then Ravi asked, do your people still fear me? Thina looked at him, her eyes soft. No, she said. But I still remember the day I asked you not to look at me. I remember too, he said. Quietly you looked at me with eyes full of something strong, not anger, not pride, just truth. I see you the same way now, Ravi said. She touched his hand lightly. Then maybe it's time I stop looking away. At the edge of the city, a new tower rose, a simple one, not tall, not grand. Just a place to hold the memory crystals. Ravi placed the dark green memory stone, the one that had first called to him, on the center table. Above it, the image of the ancient Solari city appeared once more. But this time, it did not show war. It showed gardens, bridges, songs. Beside him, Taran stood, watching quietly. You've done more than we ever hoped. Taran said. You'll do more, Ravi replied. I was just the first spark. Taran smiled. That's how every flame begins. Many years later, travelers from far stars would land on Lesson. They would hear the story of the man from Earth who woke the fire again. They would see the Hall of Flame and Wind. They would sit beneath the glowing trees and hear songs sung in both Valari and Solari voices. And some would ask, why did the alien woman once say, please, human, don't look at me like that? And the answer would always be the same, because sometimes a single look full of truth, full of feeling can wake the stars.